believe that self-driving cars will change our world for the better. We're starting by getting dangerous, polluting, out-of-date vehicles off the road, and motorcycles are first.
The act restricts operating hours for all motorcycles and ATVs and provides for a complete and permanent ban on ownership and operation of those vehicles 1 year from today.
If nothing changes, your motorcycles and mine will be illegal to ride, to own, to buy, or to sell next year.
Europe and much of Asia took these steps over the past several years, and now the Supreme Court has cleared the way for the U.S. to follow.
Honestly, I don't see people taking it. What's next? They make this happen, what's the next thing? I don't think it's going to go so easy. There's going to be trouble.
Can't believe there's not blood in the streets already.
Police department, search warrant!
Private ownership of vehicles is one of our basic freedoms, and this takes it away. Absolutely. I think the key word here is control. They want to control the movement. They want to control where you go, why you go, and when you go. There's some real serious moral questions that come with this. I just don't think these guys have thought through. The problem with true believers is they never think of the evil aspect of anything.
The Grid AVN couldn't care less about old motorcycles. We're filling in a spreadsheet.
We need to do something. Something that they can't ignore.
There it is, the trailer for our three-part dramatic series, The Last Motorcycle on Earth. I'm Eric Ristau, the writer, director, and cinematographer.
Hi there, I'm Neil Olson. I play the central character of this film. I'm also a co-producer.
And I'm Geneva Ristau, co-producer, editor, and actor in the series.
This show is intended to be entertaining. It's a fictionalized, dramatized story about several riders and how they deal with a ban on motorcycles and a ban on gasoline as autonomous vehicles and self-driving cars take over our transportation system.
The idea for this series came from an absolute avalanche of news stories about self-driving cars and this autonomous future that some people think we really should be living in.
A really exciting next step on our journey to safely deploy self-driving cars in 2019.
Self-driving cars are no longer a thing of the future.
A look into our future in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, as Uber rolls out self-driving cars for its customers.
This is all moving an awful lot quicker than anybody really thought.
This really ends up being the story of a culture war. Our characters grapple with new technology and how they feel it's pushing against their freedom as individuals.
What can we do to make a place in this new world for vintage cars, motorcycles? How are we going to get along?
How do we protect the history and legacy of petroleum-powered transportation culture as vehicles go electric and autonomous in the coming years?
So we wanted to think about what that transition might look like and what would happen if people pushed back and people weren't ready to give up things that they love, such as their motorcycles or their vintage vehicles, and not wanting to cede the roadway to autonomous vehicles.
Unlike many campaigns, our project is actually underway. We've shot hour number 1 and parts of 2 and 3 on a shoestring budget with a tiny crew. But now we need your help to finish.
Things that our team can't do itself cost big money. Visual effects, music, sound mixing, the list goes on. We've put our guts into making a show that creates a compelling what-if scenario of what the future could look like, one that most of us want to avoid. We hope you'll want to get involved and bring The Last Motorcycle on Earth across the finish line.
But we need your help to complete this project. And that help is, honestly, it's cash. Cash talks, folks.
Thank you so much for your help with The Last Motorcycle on Earth.
Thank you.
Thank you for your support. We do appreciate it.
Oh yeah, once you've had Rick-Rack, you'll never go back. The ultimate motorcycle luggage rack solution. Forget those messy straps and bungee cords. Go strapless with a Rick-Rack quick attach luggage system and quality bag. Head over to lawabidingbiker.com/store. Get hooked up now. Hey there, Bikeaholics. Zero 3D has a wide variety of innovative products for your Harley-Davidson motorcycle. Affordable chrome lighting and comfort products. These guys ride and support riders just like you. Head over to lawabidingbiker.com/store and check out our full line of Zero 3D products. Welcome back, Bikeaholics. This is the podcast for the motorcycle majority, the big MM, also known as the 99%. That's right, large and in charge, more than any time in history of the motorcycle scene. By listening to this very podcast, you are part of what we call the biker revolution. Oh yeah, I do have one question for you before we get started. What are you waiting for, Bikeaholics? Mount up. Let me take you on another wild-ass ride. And I am solo in the studio today, but have no fear. We've got an awesome episode for you guys. Ryan Erlacher here, your host of the Law-Abiding Biker Podcast and your high-tech redneck. Now, you heard the opener. I just have a few things up front here, guys, that you'll definitely want to know about. First thing I want to mention, I guess I digress, but you heard the opener, and so hopefully that spurred some thoughts in your head about what this episode is going to be about and the interview I did, but I'll get a little bit more into that here in a moment. But I do want to mention, as I always do, a completely new free video for you guys, and it is how to install Ciro 3D Bat Blades LED white and amber turn signal lights on your Harley. It's another great product from Ciro 3D. It is available in our store. We have them in stock, ready to ship to you guys right now. Basically, they're little LEDs that go up, the curvature of your bat wing fairing for those of you with bat wing fairing Harleys. And the nice thing is these things are white LEDs, and they're kind of running lights. So when you're going down the road, but when you signal, they actually turn amber. And of course, in the video, I show you all that. We show you how to install them. It's really nice, especially at night. People will be able to see the dimensions of your bike. So head-on traffic coming, we'll be able to see, oh yeah, clearly that's the width of that vehicle coming head-on, opposite lane, and also the additional, safety aspect of letting, even in the daytime, cars see, with a signal that runs up along your fairing that you are actually signaling to turn. So anything we can do to improve our safety, of course. And the show notes in there will be a link, because it's an awfully long link, but I will put a link to that video in the show notes along with that particular product. Now, we always have sponsors, and we appreciate those sponsors of the show so very much. But you know who also makes this entire thing we call Law-Abiding Biker Media possible? Well, because I mention them a lot, and I do it on purpose because I appreciate them so much. There are patron members. They made this episode possible. Moritz of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, top tier. Anthony Peters of Southside, Tennessee. Jim Sharp of Cadillac, Michigan. Gary Jackson of Valentine, Nebraska. Casey Ortiz of Syracuse, Nebraska. Dave Hernandez of Benson, Arizona, top tier. James Derflinger of Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and he's a top tier. Probably mutilated that. Kaloa Martin of Ocean View, Hawaii. Martin Gavrilla of Hollywood, Florida, also top tier patron members. Lawabidingbiker.com/Patreon, Patreon. That's right. That's how you get signed up. That's right. You can pledge a certain amount per piece of content. No risk to you, because you can put a monthly or a monthly cap, guys, on that. There are benefits, t-shirts, stickers, access to that private Facebook group, which is blowing up, continues to blow up, all the way up to access to our premium videos up on request, guys. And we would love to have you as a patron and get to know you better, especially as we get to know everybody in that private Facebook group. That's really important. So I'm going to get right into this episode. I'm not going to bore you anymore. This is something that I think would interest the law-abiding biker community, and that's why I brought Eric Ristau on, who's a filmmaker, independent filmmaker. When he does movies like this, he's also in the interview as his main actor in this particular movie series, and that is Neil Olson. Now, I honestly do believe it's, we're all looking for entertainment. We're looking for good movies. It's hard to find anymore. And the more independent films I watch, I realize how much better they are than some of the big budget films, because people do it, and you'll hear from a passion. They do it because Eric is into motorcycles. He has a passion for motorcycles, and he's a filmmaker. Neil is obviously, you'll hear, very passionate and a motorcycle enthusiast himself. And so when you get that, guys, when you get a passion for something, it speaks volumes in the end product. You don't always have to have the best of everything, the equipment that you use. And Eric's got plenty of equipment, trust me, to make an independent film. If you guys remember back in episode 68, if you go back to that, he also did an independent part 1 and part 2, Sit, Stay, Ride. That was all about sidecar dogs and motorcyclists and their partners, so to speak. some great independent films. Those were more documentary style. This is more of a narrative film. And we'll get into the interview. You'll find out what it's about. But I urge you guys, if you can find it, if you want something really wholesome, you want something that was created from the heart, they're out of Missoula, Montana. They're doing this all independent. They're asking for some help financially. There are a lot of expenses when it comes to that kind of stuff. And depending on the amount of money, raised, that's what they can put into it as far as music composition and visual effects and things like that. Just understand, that's one of the things. There are costs associated, and it is a motorcycle film by motorcycle enthusiasts. And I think it's all something, if you can find it. Let's bump up their Indiegogo campaign. Let's get them some of the stuff. They have got a lot of benefits over there for signing up for Indiegogo. And again, I wouldn't be throwing at you guys if I didn't know Eric from the past podcast and getting to know him and some of his work. Make sure you check out the trailer. That's what I played up front of this episode. It's a really cool trailer. You'll see some of the beautiful cinematography. It's well done. And let's get behind this campaign and see if we can push them at least closer to their overall goal, so we can all have something that is a really cool motorcycle movie. And it's also, you'll hear in the interview, it's a great film because it also is going to bring some awareness that maybe a lot of you out there haven't really thought about, that kind of is happening behind the scenes basically right now with self-driving cars and stuff. Enough said. That's all I'm going to say. Let's get right into the interview.
Hey, there it is.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, man. Good to see you again.
Hey, good to see you, buddy. Is it the same Skype name? Because I was trying to call you on another one.
You know what? My Skype's all whacked out. I can't even figure out my own Skype name. I'm sorry.
Oh,
hey,
right.
Ryan, this is Mort Olson right here. Can you see? Oh, there.
There you go. Yeah, you two might need to get cozy. I'd hold hands.
Let me scoot the screen back a little bit. There we go. How you been?
I'm doing good, buddy. How about you?
I'm good.
You're staying busy?
I am staying busy. We got 2 little kids and trying to make a movie and make a living all at once. You know the drill, man. It's like 80-hour plus weeks. Always.
Yeah. I hear you. You're building a new studio too, or something you said?
Yeah, we're getting started on it here in a little bit. It still looks like grass, but I imagine it as a 2-story, 30 by 40 foot badass man cave. But the excavator doesn't come till about a month from now, so we're gonna try to dry it in this season.
Awesome.
Yours
man.
is almost done, right? Or is it done?
I'm in it right now, but you can see I got cardboard over the window. It's done generally speaking, but I've still got all my gear. I'm at a makeshift desk right now, but hey, it gets me by. I just need a couple of weeks to just really organize and get things squared away so it's actually organized in here. So yeah.
You have a building, man. That's way better than what I can say.
Yeah, I'm definitely not complaining. It's nice to have room again. We had outgrown the bonus room and outgrown the shop, and just the room to move around when we're doing our, videos and stuff, to set gear and stuff when we're doing tutorial stuff, So yeah.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, I kind of caught up on some of the stuff you've been doing. Now it's looking great. And it was cool to see the build of the building, watching some of that happen. And looks like your video capabilities have really come along in a big way.
Well, thanks, buddy. Not near your capabilities, but for what I do, I think it's come a long way. So thanks a lot for that.
Yeah, man. Well, I'd love to check it out in person one of these days. But thanks again for hooking us up with an interview. I really appreciate it. We're really trying to get this thing rolling. The Indiegogo is going pretty slow. It went off like gangbusters, and then we started to scare them. People have been getting kind of wigged out by the subject matter a little bit.
Really? I'm surprised. Yeah,
I am too. I mean, I think that some people think maybe it's. Well, I'm just sort of bullshitting here, and so I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, that's all we're doing.
Just roll with it. Okay, right on. Well. I don't know. I mean, I think maybe people are thinking maybe it's, I don't want to see my worst nightmare kind of thing. Why would I want to watch a show that's my worst nightmare? But also, I think that in the current climate with, a lot of talk about gun control, there is a couple of flashes of assault rifles in our trailer. And I don't know if maybe that turned people off on it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, I'm hoping that we can get the fire rolling again, so to speak, and get this out there for the audience and all that, so that we can hopefully get some support because I think it's a good project. Eric, now I know you, obviously. We go back to episode 68 when you did the movie, just to remind people, the Sit, Stay, Ride documentary film, right?
Yep, you got it. You were kind enough to bring me on the show and help us succeed in our crowdfunding campaign for that, which was dogs riding in sidecars, which was a pretty happy-go-lucky kind of project. And we're not necessarily taking a spin to the dark side with this new film, but it's definitely a different tone, and it's looking at it's a narrative film, so it's fictional. And that's been a really fun thing as a filmmaker to work with, a script to a degree, and a guy who can ad lib, and a guy who's, a really excellent actor, Mort Olson here.
Yeah. So we do. Let me intro, because he's been sitting over there. That's Neil. So Eric, for the audience, just give a quick, you're a filmmaker. You've been a filmmaker for a long time. Just to catch the audience up who may not have heard episode 68, just a quick bio.
Sure. Appreciate it. I have a video production company in Missoula, Montana, and motorcycles are my area of interest when it comes to making movies and recreation, all of that. And so my brother and I directed a film called The Best Bar in America, which was a fictional narrative film here about 2008 about a guy on an old BMW traveling the country, writing a guidebook to every bar he could come in. Every bar in the West was the goal, right? Impossible goal. And then my wife and I co-directed Sit, Stay, Ride 1 and 2, which are documentary films about people that take their dog in their motorcycle sidecar, whatever kind of bike, whatever kind of dog, whatever kind of human. And, we've done some short films, and now we're doing a multi-part series that is called The Last Motorcycle on Earth. And it's a fictional, near future kind of drama that imagines what would happen if, in the future, autonomous vehicles took over and gasoline was outlawed as it's planned to be in Britain and Norway in 2040. And what happens to motorcycles? What happens if they eventually try to outlaw old cars, old motorcycles, etc. So we're imagining a world that none of us want to live in, but it gives us a chance to talk about what we would all do about it and how that would look and how that would affect our lives.
And I just want to explain, Eric, and just correct me if I'm wrong, but I want everybody to know out there that, independent, I highly, support independent filmmakers and these types of movies. But I think it's fair to say that your main income, people don't know that, comes from other filmmaking endeavors. These are kind of passion projects, right? Because explain that a little bit, because I really like, a lot of people don't know about independent filmmakers, and they don't do this to get rich. You're doing this because it's some sort of passion you have.
That's true. All of this is, if we're not doing crowdfunding, it's out of pocket. And then we only have only have a little extra cash to throw around every year to do our own stuff. But yeah, we do commercials and we do short documentaries, whatever clients need. We produce that stuff in Montana and the Northwest, sometimes outside of those areas, but mostly pretty local, regional stuff. And, we're just trying to pull together money to keep doing our own films on the side. And they rarely generate enough money to do another movie in and of themselves. And if they pay for themselves and we break even, that's the goal. And that doesn't always happen. But crowdfunding's been a great thing for us because it helps us connect with an audience of people who care, people who are interested, and just try to rock and roll and keep on going. And we've shot the first hour-long episode of The Last Motorcycle on Earth for almost nothing. I mean, the crew has a lot of times been Mort and me. And that's it. Sometimes we have a little more help, but rarely. And so we're trying to raise some money to be able to do it, and finish off the stuff that we can't do because neither of us compose music and neither of us do visual effects and, sound mixing. We have our talents, but we can't do quite everything. So yeah, it's definitely low budget, independent, not Hollywood.
Yeah, well, it's the trailer's awesome. I saw some beautiful cinematography. You're very talented. I'm looking forward to it, but I just wanted to get that out there for the audience that, these type of, and working on a skeleton crew. I get it, because oftentimes I'm lucky to get one guy to help me, and sometimes I just have to throw them gear and they don't really know how to use it all the time. And,
right.
So
exactly.
You just kind of run and gun. Sometimes you're just like, okay, let's just get something, even if it's not perfect, but,
it's been fun for us to see what we can do with nothing, with just the two of us and a camera, basically, and a few little, camera related toys. But, we've done quite a few scenes where there's nobody else there. which is a hoot because a lot of it looks good enough that nobody's going to know. And that just shows you how, sort of overstaffed a lot of these big productions are, where you got 100 people. And, sometimes
we've had the benefit of time as well. Nobody's been shooting arrows at us to get this done. So we've been able to just kind of plod along and really think each scene through and kind of, if it takes all day to get a minute, we're taking it. Yeah. And so the results, I think, are going to show that. I really hope so.
Yeah, I believe so. And that talking is Neil Morto is, we got to explain that.
Morto, yeah, whatever.
I want to say motor, but it's different. It's twisted. Olson, right? Neil Olson? Okay.
Neil Olson is my real name. Yeah, I was unfortunately tagged with a nickname as a kid by my grandfather. And he had left me alone for a while, but then he called me that in front of some high school friends and called me Mortimer Snerd, right? From Edgar Bergen. You got to be kind of old to know that, but it stuck like glue. So,
why don't you give Neil? Why don't you give just a quick bio on who you are and what your background is and where you're coming from, basically?
Well, I'm a lifelong motorcyclist. I started out at 11, 12 years old, first with a Whizzer and then a Honda 90. I had wanted a Norton 16H military bike. My father wouldn't let me buy, and had a machine gun scabbard on it, man. Like my dad was just not into it. But anyway, I ended up with a Honda 90 and I rode it a lot and it just fell into it. So here I'm in the lower half of my 60s and I'm still continue to be with motorcycles. I've had a career with the Army and the Defense Department and retired in the last year and just trying to kind of figure out what to do with myself and finally get all day, every day to play with my motorcycles, and it has gotten to be a little out of hand. I got a lot of bikes, so and I've been very, very fortunate. So
awesome! Thanks for the intro. Now I got to ask though. So you two, how does this? I like to get the background, and then I want to talk more about the actual movie and filming. But I think it's very important for the audience to understand where you guys come from because that helps in the support process if people know, like, and trust you guys. And obviously I do, or I wouldn't have you on. How does this little team here happen? And did you meet in a local Missoula, Montana bar and say, hey, you want to shoot a film?
Very much. Yeah.
See, I got it.
Actually, it started a little bit further back. It started with Best Bar in America. And Missoula hosts a New Year's Day ride every winter. And it can be miserable. It can be decent. You just never know. And these two young men approached me. I was with a friend. We were both riding sidecar motorcycles, and they said, "Hey, you guys want to be in a movie?" And we're like, "Go away, kid!" And
bottoms up.
What an idiot! I just thought they were kids. Going to be some little 8mm thing like I used to do, or 16, and it'd be silly. And then it was Best Bar in America, which I don't know if you've seen, but it is truly one of my favorite films, and just for so many reasons. And so then we got acquainted after the film came out, and Eric was always bugging me, let's do something. And that culminated in the coldest day in Montana, or in Missoula, pardon me, on record. Eric calls up and says, we got to knock out a short film. We've got to do it. And if we can get it put together, we can submit it to the Big Sky Documentary Film Festival like today, and we'll get free tickets. So that was the whole reasoning. And we went out and we knocked out a little film called The Winter Rider, and it was, just breathtakingly awful cold, and the coldest weather I had ever actually ridden a motorcycle in.
We'll send you a link to it.
We'll send you a link.
It's basically a guy digging out a 1950s, 60s era
1960s Ural, yeah.
Sidecar. It's piled up with snow. It's under a snowdrift. He digs it out and gets it running and rides to the store.
It was a miracle.
Buys a bag of ice
start.
So,
yeah, pretty funny.
It was 18 below and windy. It was gnarly, man. And
horrible.
So it's only been, I think, more pleasant since then. The shooting part of the process, but
it's brought good things to me, which is funny. I've connected with people that have seen it, and they've called just like with, "Hey, I saw this little film and saw your name. Is this you?" And I have some motorcycle parts, and It's like, wow.
Well, they say it's a you because he was so bundled up with stuff and goggles and everything to try to survive that cold. It was like an Arctic expedition on a bike.
Yeah, I had brain freeze like crazy. It was really uncomfortable.
But Mort has a multi-acre compound that is full of cool buildings, these amazing fences, these welded out of found objects. He's got these barns full of bikes. He's got these, collections of signs, just beautiful, objects and signs and things relating to, to motorcycling and to other, interesting things, automotive culture and whatever. And it's just like a built-in set. And when I met Mort and I saw that, I got to figure out something to shoot, not only to use Mort, to be able to shoot on this property, because it's like, if you were to try to design that, a production designer friend of mine in LA said, that's a multi-million-dollar set to try to build, and it wouldn't even look authentic because it hasn't been sitting there for decades.
It has a personal compost feel to it. I mean, it can be kind of out there.
Well, Mort, did you charge him permits and stuff, film permits? I would charge him a lot. I would,
So far, I think I've got some beers and some cheeseburgers out of this deal, a couple breakfasts, and really, if that's all I ever got, I would consider myself ahead. It has been really, really fun.
I think I bought gas at least twice. Come on.
Yeah.
Nice. So
he's promising more. He's promising like a real dinner.
Right. Indie filmmakers always do that. Don't worry, when I'm done, I will pay you.
Oh yeah.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
So I gotta ask this though, because that brings up this is more of the last motorcycle on Earth. You've done some documentary stuff, obviously, the Stay Ride, but this is an actual, it's not a documentary necessarily. It's acting. And so, Mort, do you have any prior, or did you just say, are you just going for it?
Really, not a bit. Fibbing to judges. Other than that, that's it.
Nice.
No, sir, I didn't see that stuff. So that's it.
Very nice.
I have not. But Eric has a technique to work with people that have never acted before, and I won't give it up what it is, but it works really well. And you're very comfortable with it very quickly. And I have, I'm not shy. So I, spoke to crowds of, was a commander of an army unit. So I know how to, a little bit acquainted with speaking publicly and to groups. So I'm not real shy about that. That helps, I think. So
big time. And what I have found when you do narrative fictional filmmaking where people, have lines and they have to act, they have to turn on the camera and, get some particular part of the film. If they're not an excellent actor, you can't make them an excellent actor. If they're somebody who's just trying to get into the business, or maybe they have some experience, but if they're not just awesome, there's nothing I can do to make them awesome. But if a person is already outgoing and they're excited to do the project they're interested in, they're not an actor. If you can sort of just, if you have a comfortable friendship or whatever, and roll the camera, just keep it rolling and just kind of work through stuff and play around basically, and make sure you get those particular pieces of information that you're looking for. But I'm not always attached to the script being recited exactly as I've written it. And it usually comes out better with this guy talking. It comes out better than I would have written anyway. So that's
making it up. I can't get my words around some of the things he writes. I can't get my mouth out there and make it, wrap up on some of this. I just don't speak that way. But he does. So it's like, well, then how would you say it?
Yeah.
That I'd say it the way I would, and
it sounds way better than.
So we usually get something in between.
Yeah, so it's been a blast, and we do have some real actors involved, and they're great.
Let's talk about that a little bit, because Geneva, your wife, is also involved. She's I had it written down here. She's got a couple titles. Geneva, co-producer, editor, and actor in the movie. Talk a little bit. I love the behind the scenes because it gives people, when they see the trailer, more of a understanding of who's behind that. So give us insight into actors and some of that stuff briefly.
Well, Geneva appears as in a TV, basically, as a fake CNN newscaster, and she could do that in a minute if she ever wanted to pursue that career. It's her last thing she'd ever want to do. But when she turns it on, she can absolutely be a national newscaster. So at some point, she shows up to interview this guy. in the story. At first, we see her in the TV reporting the news. So it's fairly small little parts, green screen. We did it in our living room kind of thing, and added all the graphics into the project. But Geneva always tends to be my counterpoint when I write a script or I put together a rough cut of an edit. She always goes in. This is the way it works in our business as well. Is that I'll just be excited and knock something out. And then she says, oh, wait, you need to polish this. You need to do this. Hey, what about this approach? She has an objective point of view. And so that ends up being our back and forth with writing and editing just to get our first draft that then we take and try to film. But she's a good editor. She's a lot of times she'll, not even look at the images. She'll be listening to what's being said, that kind of stuff. She's a totally different approach than I do. And so that's great in all the work we do to have that totally different brain, looking at something. And so she's, we have a couple little kiddos, so she's not able to be out in the field with this as much as she would like, as I would like. But, it's nice to have somebody who doesn't know any of the material until it's there in the office and we're editing it. That's been cool. Yeah, it's a good partnership.
Good. And so she's helping, and then you have just briefly several other actors. Obviously, I see some different faces in the trailer.
Yep. So one of Morton and my good buddies, Rick Barkholz, is another bike builder, motorcyclist, local guy, also a Bonneville salt racer like Morto, and a really legit motorcyclist and builder. And he's in there as well. He's been doing great and plays a very interesting character. In fact, in the show, you'll be interested.
See the one smoking the cigarette, doing the.
Yeah.
Is that him?
Okay, I figured.
We're kind of besties on top of everything else, recognize. So we have a little trouble actually being in scenes together because we make faces at each other.
No, they just laugh. It's terrible.
we just bust up. So,
But then we have a really great actor named Chris Torma, who's like a true lifetime actor, and he's one of these guys that you can give a script to, and he will recite what you wrote. But he'll make it sound like a real person saying it instead of, some, kind of half-ass dialogue that I knocked out, at 2 a.m. You could give this guy a phone book and he'd keep you interested.
And make it interesting. Yeah.
Reading yeah. And, there's a number of other small roles and a lot of them are real folks.
Huffman.
Yeah, Tim Huffman's a guy locally who, biggest beard on the block kind of guy. And, he's acted in The Best Bar in America. He was a bartender in that. Has a great little scene.
We have our secret weapon as well, Lewis.
Yeah, we do. We have some folks who it's just amazing that they haven't been in movies before. But we're dragging some of our friends in who are already interesting, outgoing personalities and making them a pretty cool part of the show.
Good, and that's all just passion. Everybody chipping in basically and saying, "I want to be part of this project."
Oh yeah. No, nobody said no.
Yeah, it's just fun, and the great thing about working with Mort is that he's been around here a while, knows a ton of people, is respected, and to have that kind of credibility outside of the filmmaking side of it. I mean, this guy can line up locations and props and actors in the drop of a hat, which I don't have those kind of connections, even though I've been here off and on for almost 20 years. Yeah. So that's been helpful.
Well, beautiful area to film, Missoula, Montana. And that's, I would say, talking about Mort's property compound or whatever, that's pretty much the set. And are you just going around probably some different areas in Missoula? Anything outside of those areas that you got to get for the film?
Yep. We are trying to get out into some of the scenic areas outside of Missoula, the Flathead Valley, up toward Ovando, which is kind of northeast of Missoula, and he gets out. Part of the story.
Flathead Valley quite a lot.
Yep. Part of the story is he's been looking for this old 1928 Excelsior Super X motorcycle that his grandfather owned. It was the first bike he ever sat on, first bike he was ever around, and that bike disappeared when he was a kid. And as a bike collector in the film, he's been looking for this bike his entire life. And so that's a subplot. So he's, kind of out and about, and we try to just get our characters to interesting places. And there are some pretty awesome, whether it be shops or, museums, different places that we're shooting it's basically eye candy for anybody who's into bikes. I mean, there are some incredible motorcycles, incredible places that nobody's ever seen.
Yeah, we've all the collectors in the area have basically offered up whatever they can. If you need a bike of any specific size, design, year, whatever, they volunteered. Likewise, riders, we could put together 50 riders by tomorrow if we really had to. No problem. We could do it. The community is behind us.
That's the motorcycle community at its finest. There's not a lot of industries,
and a leap of faith on everybody, because most have not really seen what it is we're doing. But I mean, the few have seen, I guess now have seen the trailers. So yeah. But prior to that, nobody really knew, and they just on the basis of say so. Oh, okay. Love Best Bar. You bet. Let's go. Whatever.
Or if they haven't seen any of the other stuff, they're just like, oh, you're making a movie. You want me to ride my motorcycle in it? All right. Yeah. At its worst, you're going to be on YouTube.
It's a good bucket list thing too for a lot of folks. They just like to say they've been in a film. They'd love to. Sure. So
Mort was doing this motorcycle movie night here winter before last, where we'd get together every so often, and a bunch of people from the motorcycle community would come out and watch a film of some sort.
Yeah, I hosted a motorcycle movie night at a local brewery upstairs in their tap room area, and it actually was very successful. We got a lot of interest on it, so we tried to be smart about the films that we screened, and there was an appetite for it. Unfortunately, they turned that area into a restaurant, and now we're looking for another venue. We'd like to continue somehow, but yeah, it was a lot of fun.
The way I've looked at it is, if this project doesn't come to anything except being able to show it at a night like that would be well worth it, because those are people that would appreciate the film and what we're trying to do.
Yeah, it'll get out there. Yeah,
I think so. No, go ahead, Mort.
Oh, I was going to say too, the main character of this story isn't a terrible stretch, and it's and you might actually appreciate it a little bit. The guy is he's an old collector, motorcycle shop that he's been building bikes out of for years. He's a little older, kind of getting ready to kind of hang up his spurs, and he has this very small radio program he's done for decades, and it's just a little swap meet on air, and sends out to the local stations. And because of that, the story can spin around him a little more without giving it all up. But he has this means of communicating with his people, with his
community.
With the community, and it is so low tech that it's kind of hard to get in and hack. And so that without, like I say, without giving up too much of the plot, that plays into it. So the person and all the characters in the film will hopefully be, like Best Part, somewhat familiar. There isn't going to be any surprises. Nobody's evil and horrible.
These characters are a lot of the people we know. I mean, these are the kinds of people that if you're a motorcyclist, this kind of person.
I know that guy.
Yep.
Yeah, I got a friend that's like that. So and reactions hopefully would be like you would think. The spectrum of reactions would be realistic. We would hope that would be coming through.
When I grew up for a few years, we lived in Othello, out near where you are, and there was a on-air garage sale called Swap and Shop every day at noon during the week, half hour, and people would call in, and before Craigslist, this is in the 80s, some early 80s, and people would call in, hey, I got a farm implement I want to sell, $500, here's my phone number. Everyone loved to listen to that, and I always thought it would be great if there was a motorcycle-oriented version of that. And so that's what we've written into the film, is this, low-tech AM radio, call in and here's, I'm looking for, a fender to a 39 Indian Chief, whatever it is, or I got a whole bucket of parts from X, Y, and Z.
But like any live anything, it drifts a little. Guys call up and they're, pretty soon, on a slow day, about what his mom's doing. And, but yeah, this kind of an interesting concept. This dying format is suddenly becoming important, and that's kind of an interesting twist.
Yeah, I like it. I'm starting to visualize some of it. Are you searching for the easiest and quickest attachable luggage system for your motorcycle? Rick Rack has just what you're looking for. Forget all those frustrating straps and bungee cords that can come loose and slap your paint. Check out one of Rick Rack's awesome quick attach strapless luggage systems. That's right. This father-son team designed something really special. You can't find it anywhere else. Yep. And these guys ride, so they truly understand the needs of bikers. The Rick Rack quick attach system is strong, durable, and secure with a lockable system. Also, check out their full line of quality touring bags to accompany your quick detach system. Once you use Rick Rack, you'll never go back. Rick Rack! What are you waiting for, Bikeaholics? Head over to lawabidingbiker.com/store and check out our full line of Rick Rack systems and bags. Hey, Bikeaholics, searching for new and exciting motorcycle products? 03D has just what you're looking for. Check out their wide variety of innovative products for Harley-Davidson motorcycles. 03D's got your back with chrome lighting and comfort products. No modifying, cutting, grinding, or welding for an easy installation that equals more time riding, less time installing. 03D has a design team with over 40 years experience with a passion and design for innovation. These guys are bikers and care about bikers just like you. They pride themselves on great customer service. Got a question? Get in touch with them via email, sales@03d.com. Give them a call, 715-808-0027. 03D is distributed in the U.S. by Drag Specialties in Europe, by Parts Europe and Zodiac, and in Asia by Twin Art. Check at your local Harley dealership and ask for 03D parts. Better yet, help support us right here. Head over to our store, lawabidingbiker.com/store, and check out our full line of 03D products. Oh, you know how we love our patrons. We would love to have you as a patron. But you know what? If the only way you can support us, we get it. We're never going to balk at a flat donation. That's right. The following people helped us that way. Putty Espenship, not sure where he's from. Mike Tovani of Windsor, California. Larry Artisan, not sure where he's from. Thank you guys. lawabidingbiker.com/donate. If that's the way you want to support us, we do absolutely appreciate that. And it definitely helps take us into the future. Let's get right back into the interview. Yeah, that's really cool. You can do a lot of fun things with that. Let's dive into a little bit about, let's get a little deeper into what the movie is basically about. We've talked a little bit, I think the audience has a good idea of kind of where we're going, but it's the last motorcycle. So you got all this going on. Basically, Eric, this somehow got in your mind, and I think it's because of some of the stuff going on. Give us why you developed and started writing this movie.
Well, I always like to think about, so what is the next step when it comes to certain things on our radar here, technology wise. And even though I work in filmmaking, I kind of consider myself a low tech person. I kind of resent my cell phone, all kinds of stuff like that. And you start to see autonomous vehicles really cropping up in the news. And Mort and I have both noticed that. And I know some engineers and some lawyers in the Bay Area who say that this is really the next thing. These companies, huge companies, are going to be pushing autonomous vehicles in a major way. And they're using safety and environmental friendliness as the reason. And there is a true factual engineering problem right now in California, which is that they allow lane splitting and it flips those cars out. I mean, there are cars on the road. They can put 100,000 autonomous vehicles on the road in any state in the union right now, according to Congress, as of a couple of months ago. And if you ride a motorcycle directly behind, next to, or in front of an autonomous vehicle, it doesn't do well. It's got auto braking. It's trying to keep the occupants safe, trying not to run into anything. And it is a real engineering problem. So I thought, well, what would happen if they never solved that? And autonomous vehicles became more the standard. What would that world start to look like if motorcycles were banned from certain highways, certain cities, maybe in the worst of all scenarios, as petroleum is phased out, banned entirely? And what would the people that I know and what would I myself do in that situation where if you put your life, your livelihood, your passions all into motorcycling, and suddenly they tell you got a year and you can't ride on public streets anymore. That starts to write itself, because it's pretty easy for me to think about the range of things people would do, whether it be marching in the streets or, trying to bug out and go to another country, or try to, there's a number of different things that people do. and
start bunkering, whatever, hiding their stuff, stashing things. And
in the case of our lead character, he happens to have a radio show. He has a lever. He has an audience to try to say, guys, we need to work against this. We need to do this in a way that isn't going to turn into civil war. We need to do this in a smart way. And we need to try to do this in a way that is going to be effective, because we have a very short amount of time before this could solidify. And, they're going to be buying in the plot, a company called Grid AVN, which is the Autonomous Vehicle Network, is buying back people's motorcycles at full market value. And they're telling you, your bike's going to be illegal in a year. You can, for the next 6 months, we'll buy it for full market value right now. Write you a check. Boom. And the weekend orthodontist with his Softail might just do that if he knows it's going to be gone. But a guy with 100 classic bikes that he's been collecting since he was 10 ain't going to do that, most likely. And people, there's going to sort of be a divide of, how much do you really want to ride? Are you willing to be an outlaw just by the fact that you're on the road as, formerly a law-abiding biker? And we really feel like it kind of writes itself, because it's a you can envision what real people would do pretty easily.
The morality issue creeps in of how things would be decided autonomously, how it recognizes who it recognizes, and so it's going to have to prioritize. And that's actually, if you just think on that little bit, I mean, you take let that little bit of a nugget into your head that these vehicles will have to prioritize somehow of what is something that it has to ignore and run over, or something that it has to try at all costs to stop. And there's still going to be accidents, autonomous or not. And those are some things that can be discussed without getting too far down the rabbit hole. And you can basically see how conspiracy people get going, because your brain takes you to the worst spot right away, and so somewhere in the middle is probably where things would end up. But we try not to be out of the realm of possibility, at least, without we're making some light speed jumps and a little ahead in the future, and some assumptions, but I think they're rational ones, that could happen.
Excuse me. The world that we're in looks a lot like now, but it's a vague few years from now. We're basically taking what might more likely occur in this kind of way in 20 years, maybe more, and bringing it closer to us. There are decisions being made right now that will affect the next generation of our transportation system. It's happening. And that's one of the things that we just really want to communicate to motorcyclists, is that whether it be through a motorcycle advocacy group or whatever, we need to make sure that motorcycles and the motorcycling industry has a seat at the table as this new transportation system is designed. And it is underway. And, there are a lot of folks who think that we're not going to just move, let's say, automobiles largely to electric over the next 10 years. They're going to skip human-driven electric and go right to autonomous, because it's just, it is just as easy for them to do that. And there's going to be a lot of folks advocating autonomous vehicles. And in the middle of a crowded city, maybe that makes a lot of sense. But we just want to make sure that there are no rights that are stepped on, that there are motorcyclists at the table as this, new structure is put together. And so there is an advocacy element to this series, but we're not trying to hammer anybody over the head. It's more than anything an entertainment.
We set out to make a motorcycle film for motorcyclists, about motorcyclists, and I think that still rings. Yeah. That's what we want to do, but we're not trying to be, I guess we're not trying to be out there banging the drum and zealots about this. This is the storyline we took, and so we're passionate about that. But this isn't about a revolution. This is about motorcyclists and facing down some very dark days, perhaps, for them if they don't just stay on top of it. They could lose their rights. And if we can be a cautionary tale for that and get a conversation going, even if it's just amongst motorcyclists, I think we've achieved everything and more of what we had set out to do. If we can get a piece of that. So yeah, It's an interesting concept. It's so different from what we started out talking about 2 years ago, about what the film that we were going to make 2 years ago and what we've made now is it isn't even related.
It's the creative arts, man. It evolves.
So maybe we'll have to go back and do that one.
Just rolling with it. No, and so you guys said that well. That was awesome. So, obviously an entertainment film, but yet in my eyes, it brings some awareness, to the motorcycle community as a whole that says, hey, we're not there yet, but, we should all be paying attention because it's happening. You're right. It's happening fast. And a lot of it behind the scenes that people aren't aware of. So definitely a good film for awareness.
We are striving to make it entertaining. And the trailer is so short that it might give you the impression that it's going to be a rock'em sock'em action film, and there might be some action in there, but it's about people, and some of these people are damned quirky, and they're really, really interesting, and we really hope that shines through, and that we live in a part of the country that is little seen, and there are just things about people in this part of the world in the Northwest that are a bubble out from other places, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's just a little different. Just do things a little differently that they would consider to be normal would be a little odd for other places, and we're hoping we can get some of that in there, and people will go, "What a bunch of weirdos! These guys are fun, whatever." But
I love Missoula. Been through there, and man, I could film there all day. I know you've got so much to pick from, Eric, for that kind of stuff. It's just overwhelming, the beauty up there.
If you just start with the tap rooms and
I might have went to a few of those.
Yeah, maybe that's like the industry here. I think is tap rooms. So yeah, it's fun.
Hey, I want to, just because we're getting the background, I want people to know the way I understand it, Eric, is this is not just one film. This is going to be sort of, you're envisioning some sort of series and or some episodic type series. To explain that and what your vision is and what you're trying to do, because one of them's filmed. Get into that a little bit to pump, get people pumped up about this. And
sure. So ideally, in my vision, there's my office is covered in these Post-its with ideas, and we have 8 to 10 episodes that we could do on this subject. But right now we're doing 3 because that's what we can afford to do. That's the kind of time commitment we can have, basically running on a zero, low budget kind of situation. And we're trying to raise a little money to do more and to make them good. But at this point, we're going to do 3 close to hour-long episodes, like you'd see on Netflix, where the seasons could be 8, 10, 12 episodes. And, in the perfect world, if it catches on and people are into it, we could do more, because there's a lot of story left to attack. But, doing it solo, there is a kind of a limit to what we're gonna do without people saying, "Yeah, I'll be a part of that. I'd like to see more. Of that."
Would have to have a degree of success to get beyond the 3, certainly.
True, and there are certain circumstances where we couldn't play 3 episodes, certain online streaming platforms, and so what we would do is then we take those 3 episodes and combine them into a feature film. And it's written; those 3 episodes are written in a way that there is a beginning, middle, and end, or at least a stopping point. We'll see what happens. I mean, right now we're trying to leave our options open, and we're excited to be doing it. And so if we can get it out there in one form or another, that's the goal.
Very cool. Yeah. Go ahead, Mort.
Oh, I was saying we're also, since we are early on in this, in some sense, we are kind of reaching out to the bike community to see what they would like to see as well, points that they would like to make. One of the very early things I had heard about this issue was from Rob Dingman, who's the director of the AMA, and he had been writing editorials 2 years ago about this subject. And as recently as last March, the AMA magazine had written yet another, be wary of the autonomous vehicles. So we're kind of reaching out to different groups. If you think there's a message that we should be getting out there, please contact us and we'll see what we can do. If we can get a few minutes and of people's attention and get that through, that'd be worth doing. And it would be certainly easy to write in some of it. if it's from that sense, from a motorcycle lobby sense, I guess. If there was some point that everyone thought was important, we can maybe get it out there a little bit. At least get it talked about.
There are some things that we've read that are, and incorporated into the show that are not necessarily demonizing self-driving cars, because in the ideal world, these sensors in these cars, whether they be human-driven and have some auto-braking functions or whatever, or if they're an autonomous vehicle, this could potentially make motorcycles a whole lot safer. I mean, if that car knows there is a guy on a motorcycle a mile away coming its way, that's great, because a human driver wouldn't know that. And a human driver, can be texting and not running anybody over. So there are some elements to autonomous technology and self-driving technology that are we talk about in the film as being, hey, if they do this right, this could be great for motorcyclists. We just, in the story, they go too far. And so that's a part of it. We're trying to be objective and trying to be, realistic about, how the story is told.
Yeah, the people that are trying to shut down our lifestyle are not intrinsically evil. They are just people doing a job, and they are in the film very committed to it, and it's very important that they're successful because they have everything riding on it, which is not too far from what you would expect if a corporate entity was tasked with something like this. They would have a lot at stake, and these in our story, these people do, and sometimes desperation makes people do things that they might not ordinarily do, and from all sides. And we hope to kind of look into some of that, and without being kind of ridiculous, but.
Very cool. It's really nice hearing this because it gives me a lot, deeper insights. A lot of thoughts went into this, and kind of to see both sides of it and that kind of stuff. Eric, when did you guys start filming this, and when do you plan on, do you think, getting the first episode out? What's your goals here?
Well, we started in October. I'd say 90 to 95% of the first episode is in the can. We've been building this radio studio set here for months and months, and that's about done. So we have that left to shoot for the first episode. But if folks decide to support our Indiegogo campaign, which we can talk about, they will get the first episode probably in June, July, somewhere in there, pretty soon. Episode 2 and 3 will be shot over the next couple of months, and then again in the late summer. So these are all sort of time. It's over the course of a year. So we have fall and we have spring and we have summer.
Yeah, the seasons are actually critical to the storyline. So we've given ourselves some room.
Yep. It takes place over the year before the motorcycle band comes in. And so we leap from, a year out to 6 months out to, a couple of weeks out in the narrative.
Okay, good. Let's dive into that a little bit since you mentioned it, because this is, we want the community. Obviously, I'll be supporting this film, and I'd love the community to support it. But talk about you chose Indiegogo this time, and talk about that a little bit and what you're trying to do, and budget and that kind of stuff, and give everybody a good idea.
Sure. So owning a video production company here and having great people and great sets available without much cost, we have made this first episode with out of our own pockets, and it's turned out well. But in the post-production process of a film, you have sound mixing, you have music, whether it be pre-existing music you license or you have somebody compose it for you. You have, in our show, there are some visual effects, pretty simple, but really super effective. And we had one visual effect done for the trailer, and it cost 3 times more than we had spent on the entire first episode. And that blew us away, but it's just a fact. These people are highly trained, and I think they're worth it. But it's not.
That's important.
It's not anything I can do in my spare bedroom. So
can you reveal the special effects so when they watch the trailer or not? If you can't, that's okay.
Oh, that's okay.
It's not done yet, actually.
Oh,
you see a crane going for a...
I was going to ask this later.
Yes. There's a big pile of bikes, a huge pile of bikes at a junkyard, and there's this crane going down to grab some bikes.
That's far from done. That is far from done.
Yeah, in fact, the guy, this visual effects guy's been working on this for like a month, and he's going to be grabbing big claws full of bikes and throwing them in this huge junk pile, and nice-looking bikes. And, that's the scene where they, this guy and his buddies show up and see that they're buying back a ton of bikes, and these bikes are going. They're going to the crusher, and brand new, nice looking bikes. And these guys are buying them back from the public, crushing them, sending them overseas to be melted down.
So the visual effects part, though, it's the crane and they're crushing by. I saw it. I actually have it on my notes. I was going to ask you where you shot that, because what part of that is visual effects?
So we filmed the guys standing there looking at this crusher at a local recycler. And it just had a big pile of rusty junk. And we had him come down with the crane and grab nothing at a particular spot where I put a brick for him to aim at. And then he went up as high as he could and let it go and came back down and grabbed another load. And so, we basically took that, had our visual effects guy create this entire mountain of motorcycles, which is actually going to be even more intense than you see in the trailer. And then he's going to be grabbing big crusher full of bikes and junking them while these two watch and go, there's some bikes in there that I would love to own.
No doubt.
Exactly.
I know. I was like, where is this place? I figured it had to be visual effects. I'm like, where is this place? So, that's awesome. That'll be fun for the audience just to know that that's in the trailer, guys. So you got to watch the trailer just to see what I'm talking about. Yeah.
No motorcycles were harmed in the making of this film.
Yeah. Good disclaimer. You'll have some angry people out there.
I know it. Well, speaking of the trailer, it's funny. I feel like we did almost too good a job making these fake news broadcasts, because we actually have put a lot of time into making these news broadcasts that talk about the motorcycle ban, that talk about some of these things going on in the film. And we shot those, we produced all the graphics, then we actually played them in a real TV, which helps make it look like you're not just picture in picture inside a TV. Well, some people are not watching the whole trailer. They're watching the first minute, which has a lot of this kind of, news broadcast kind of stuff. And people think we're making a documentary about our plan to ban motorcycles. When it's completely the opposite of our intention. And I guess that I sort of screwed up not really thinking that may be the case. I figured people would watch the whole 2 minutes. Well, the last half of the trailer is obviously a movie, and anyway, there have been some angry comments on Facebook saying, you people trying to take my bikes, you'll take my bikes a day, you take my guns, this kind of thing. And,
The one parallel we really didn't want to make, they connected that dot.
And people think that somehow we're advocating that, which is completely a 180 from what we're trying to do. But so if you watch the trailer, watch the whole thing before you get fired up, because this is what our characters are seeing.
And just so it's clear, we are against this plan.
Right.
There was some confusion with that.
But when people are watching at home on their computers and they get upset, they're going to hit the space bar and write a gnarly comment.
One angry person wrote that it was fake news, and that was I guess I can't argue with you there. That's
the online world. Oh yes.
Yeah,
that's all right.
There was another fellow that I got a kick out of, from the title, that if the last motorcycle on Earth isn't a Harley Davidson, then I'm not watching.
That's awesome.
And something to be clear there as well is that most of the characters in this film are about motorcycles, and they love all motorcycles. And I don't care what brand it is. We ride them all, we own them all, we love them all. This isn't specifically one make or at all. And we hope that shines through, that the common thread here is the motorcycle, not the brand or the type or the style of riding. Everybody is in jeopardy here. Everybody.
And that does bring together the motorcycle community in the story. I mean, this is the cool thing. It's like we can be in our various groups in our real world today, but if we're all under threat, man, we are together. We're coming under one umbrella here. Whatever the make of your bike, we're all in the same boat. And that's pretty cool, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm glad we went there. So the Indiegogo, let's jump back on that. And really, you're trying to raise X amount of dollars to tell the community what you're looking for, what you need.
Yep. So it's a chunk of money. We did the budget on what it's going to take to do visual effects, sound, all this for 3 hours worth of cinema, all the other, various things that need to happen in order to get it up online and make DVDs. And it's $145,000, and it's way more than we've ever raised. And, we've seen a lot of other films do it. Films that aren't associated with a really committed community. And so we figured that would be doable. We talked to a lot of smart folks who work in the independent film world, and they said, with that kind of community and with your social media and with the, folks who have supported some of your other films, you should be able to do it. And we're trying real hard, but it's going real slow, and we'll see what happens. But we're going to keep at it and keep rocking and rolling.
No matter what happens, there will be a product. We will get people there.
Yeah.
What it might just come to pass that it's not going to be at the quality that we had hoped. But
we may have to cut some visual effects. We may have to have,
rewrite a little bit of stuff.
A 3-year-old do the music. I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, there's ways to do this.
The cheeseburgers will stop. We'll be eating ramen on the back porch.
But we've got about 3.5 weeks left in the campaign. It goes through May 18th. And we're going to try to rock and roll as long as we can. And if folks see the trailer and it's something that they feel that they'd like to share with their friends, we'd appreciate that. If you feel like, this is something interesting, this is something I would support, definitely watch through the end of the trailer. But we'd appreciate anybody who sees it to share it and just to, lend support if they feel moved to do so. We'd appreciate it very much.
We need more good motorcycle films, I'm telling you. And I know from our audience, this will go worldwide. And I'm glad you told me that May 18th because we batch process. So I've already got like 5-6 episodes in the bucket. I will bump this and release. I'll have my audio guy, my producer, bump this up so that we can get it out ASAP because it's kind of crunch time.
I appreciate that. I didn't realize that. So thank you. That's very kind.
Absolutely. I don't think it's. I think. I think the word just needs to get out, and obviously here we have a very large worldwide audience. So I know that we'll get it out there. I'll help you promote it as much as we can. I'll certainly support it myself. But man, I'd love for you guys to get the full amount. I think it would just be phenomenal, especially if we could, get the whole 3-part series and stuff like that. I'm highly interested, and I know the audience. It's not a whole bunch. There's different levels I'm looking at here. All the way down to, 100 here, and there's rewards up to, we'll talk about that a little bit. Let's go all the way up to, this is the part that I'm interested in. It's the highest level, and it's $2,500. And really the only thing I care about is Geneva's brownies in here. I don't even want to be in the movie, but I just want the damn brownies because they sound scrumptious.
Oh yeah, you would feel good about writing that check for a good plate of those brownies. So we do have a whole bunch of different levels of contribution, and there's some cool patches and shirts and various things that we've created. You can also watch the show, of course. We've got posters, we've got some other interesting things, and we did do some sort of higher price things that are be in the film, show up as a featured extra, or show up as somebody who gets to say something in the film.
Radio guest.
We figured nobody'd go for that, but people are going for that. It's pretty amazing, and you never know. I sort of threw those in there, saying, what the heck, maybe somebody will write a big check, and by gosh, they
had a couple.
We have had a couple, so that's going to be fun. And we tried to basically make a level where anybody would.
The bargain one is the barbecue. The barbecue. I don't remember what level that donation is, but that gets you the most bang for it. You did going
to do a ride around the area.
Probably a bit part, probably a lot. So
yeah. We're going to do kind of a hang out with the cast and crew, do a ride, and do a barbecue kind of deal. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, very cool. I'm looking to let's see. You guys can get on their Indiegogo. Yeah, Badass Bundle, most popular. That's the $250, and that's the behind the scenes, right? Behind the scenes. Oh, got out of there. Behind the scenes updates, and Moto Merc patch, stream all episodes, and 4 more items. But you guys can get on here and Badass Bundle 2. Okay. Yeah. See it. Yeah. It goes. But you guys can get on their page here because and there's the 500, which you're talking about. Which the 500 you can get your voice in the film, which is the makeshift
call into the radio show.
Into the radio show. Yeah. I think that's fun. I think you'll get some interest in that. I really do. I think a lot of people think that kind of stuff would be fun. So
anyone is truly welcome to come contact us if they're in the hood, they're in the neighborhood, they want to come by.
Yeah,
give us a shout.
It's an open.
If you're interested in this, want to talk about it, that. Whether you donate or not, I'm shooting ourselves in the foot here, but I mean, come by, give us a call.
Yeah, the biker community, they're good about supporting people. I have no doubt they would support you if they wanted to do that.
We got to drag you over here and give you a couple of lines, man.
Come on, that would be sweet.
Oh,
yeah.
Anytime.
That would be sweet.
We're looking for a love interest for one of the performers. I mean, you could be it.
Perfect. Right up my alley.
Tim's looking for someone.
See how my casting director works. Discrediting me everywhere.
Yeah, careful what you say yes to here.
We could get some bang out of that. Oh, geez, yeah, that's funny. Good. And obviously, if you're ever over in this area and ever need hookups for anything, you know how to get a hold of me because I know the area well. So
I do. I love that area, man. I miss it.
Yeah, it is beautiful. I know we talked in the past, about you being over here and today. But what else do you want to get out to the community about this thing? Why do we put it at May 18th? Is that just because? Can you extend that, or you're not extending it, or what's?
They don't let us extend it. When we did a couple of our other crowdfunding campaigns on Kickstarter, it was a 30-day. And that felt so quick. I've got a life. I've got other stuff I got to do. I can't be at the computer 24/7 trying to promote this. I wish I could. But Indiegogo lets you set your own time frame. So we set 45 days. And that just happened to be, where we landed with that. But if people go to lastmotorcycle.com, that'll ping them right over to the Indiegogo campaign. There's no website there. That address just forwards to the Indiegogo campaign. So if you go to Indiegogo.com and search for the Last Motorcycle on Earth, that's fine too. But lastmotorcycle.com shoot you right over there and you can check it out.
Awesome. I'll put it in the show notes for the audience too. You guys, lawabidingbiker.com/whatever the episode number is. I will have a direct link there. Now I got to ask, are you shooting in 1080 or are you shooting in 4K on this one?
We're doing 4K widescreen HDR. It's going to be kind of fun. It's I can't turn the camera quite far enough, but I've got about 7 hard drives on my desk and adding them every day. It just takes up so much data. It's ridiculous.
Unbelievable. I'm collecting RAID drives myself because I'm shooting everything in 4K. So I got RAID drives and they're getting full and I'm buying more RAID drives. And I'm just like, this is just getting ridiculous to store all this.
It looks great, but it kills you for space, right?
It does, and it gives you some more flexibility to manipulate, some things. But I understand your pain there, especially shooting is a big film like this, man. That's got to be crazy. So.
Come home after shooting a small scene, it's like 2 terabytes worth of material. What? How can that be? We just shot a 4-minute scene. Yeah. So it's pretty silly, but we're future proofing, and it's going to look great on people's computers and their home screens and all that stuff.
I will be watching it in true 4K. Trust me, because I got 4K TV and 4K setup. I will. A lot of people don't, but I have it. When it's available in 4K, it looks amazing on a 4K TV.
Yeah, it sure does. It's awesome now that you can really get a better picture in your home with a setup like that than you can in any movie theater. And it's just great.
It is future proofing. Yeah, totally. All right. Before we wrap it up, is there anything else? It's open. If I didn't ask something, or there's something you want to get out to the community.
Man, we just appreciate the support so much. I mean, this is the thing that I working in film and doing a lot of motorcycle related stuff. The support from the community is so appreciated, and it's just amazing. It makes you realize what a special group of people we're associated with. Whether it be shooting the film or trying to get a crowdfunding campaign going, or whether you're broken down on the side of the road. Man, there's no greater group of people on the planet.
Yeah, well said, and a nice way to end it. Mort, you have anything else to say?
Oh, probably I could go on for hours and just might. But
me too. Yeah, we can.
I guess just what Eric said. We have just so much work into this, and it has been so entertaining and so much fun, and we really hope we can put something out there that at the very least, you'll think, man, those guys worked their butts off. They worked hard there. We hope that shines through, and we hope, of course, that it's supported and well received. And I guess time will tell, but yeah, we're going to keep plugging away.
Awesome. Well, we'll do everything we can here at Law Abiding Biker Media to promote it. Like I say, we'll get it out next, get it on the website and stuff like that. I think that's mostly why maybe the campaign, we just need to, get the word out there, because if people don't know about it, then it's hard for them to support it, so to speak. So awesome. And yeah, go ahead, Eric.
Thanks. Well, we've had a little bit of strange pushback from some of the larger, media companies, media outlets that have reviewed some of our past work. It's pretty interesting. I mean, these are sort of, more corporate organizations.
The large magazines have, which was a surprise, and I guess I get it, is they don't want to talk about anything that isn't finished, that isn't out there, and that they can review and see, and so that was a surprise.
And there's also, the controversial element to this, and
they were a little concerned, and that might, it might be the trailer might have misled them slightly, that this is about, angry guys, and that's not the story.
No,
the story is much, much deeper than that. And sure, there's an element of people that are angry, and that's just like, if this really was happening, you would see it. But that is not the film.
And are you talking about, you guys were looking for some investor money for it? Is that what you're talking about?
Just some exposure through the magazines. Major magazines, they didn't even want to talk.
I see what you're saying.
Until we had a completed product. And,
I will tell you that
was a shame. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. That's good information. Yeah, some of those magazines, but honestly, and I don't just say this because I'm a podcaster, we get way more views than magazines do, and more listens anymore. Magazines are dead. I mean, sorry if you're in the magazine industry, it's dead, and so although that does hurt you, there are still some people that read it. I think you'll get more, out of doing different podcast venues and YouTube, 100%. Yeah, and stuff like that. So do you have it on YouTube too, or is it just on Vimeo?
We do have a YouTube link. Yeah.
I'll find that link, because a lot of our audience is on YouTube.
Facebook page, and we've got Instagram. We just started, and just trying to get it out there a little bit. I guess it's all work for Eric. I'm just terrible at it.
Well, and I'm actually not I'm not a pro at this kind of stuff. It's guys like you that help us so much by being willing to chat with us. And you've worked hard to build your community and your audience, and I don't take that lightly at all. So thanks again for all your hard work, and letting us share the mic with you a little bit.
Absolutely, guys. Thanks a million. Let me know.
Missoula,
yep, absolutely.
Anybody.
We ride through there. We've ridden through there a few times on rides. We always seem to end up going through there. We've stayed there a few times. I love that area. This year we're going all the way to Kansas City. We're doing a 7-day trip, and so we're going to hit like 6 different states. But yeah. Oh, definitely. I know.
We have 2 seasons in Missoula. We have winter and house guests. Those are our 2 seasons. So
well, come by and we'll make sure to have a role for you ready, Matt.
Really? That would be
awesome.
Freaking awesome. Okay.
It'd be great.
I'll be in touch with you. Yeah. I'll be in touch with you. You got my email and stuff. That would be kind of fun, actually. Yeah. All right. Cool. Thanks, guys.
Thanks again.
Yeah.
I sure appreciate it, Ryan.
Awesome. All right. Later.
Cheers.
Talk to you soon.
Thanks.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Bikeaholics, there you have it. Hope you really enjoyed that interview. I truly believe that it's something the biker community can get behind. They already are, as you heard in the interview, behind their, helping them with the film. And I love these independent films, and I know that we need more good movies out there. And what a better movie to support than a biker movie, a motorcycle movie, I should say, for the most part. I think it would be really interesting to push these guys forward and help them. There are a lot of expenses involved, and obviously the more we raise for them, or the more we get involved, the higher the production value. But I think it's just the biker community standing behind the biker community and getting content out there that we all love. And although it's like we stated, it's a film, a series, I should say, about that particular situation, and its entertainment value is going to be awesome, but also it brings some awareness to the biker community, because we all do need to pay attention to what's going on in these kind of things, because we all love our motorcycles so much. We would hate to come to a point where we would be told we can't ride them. It's a lifestyle. It's part of who we are, and everybody that rides out there knows exactly what I'm talking about. It frees the soul. I couldn't imagine a world where I couldn't ride my motorcycle. That would be just unbelievable. But nonetheless, that's my only call to action, is that we, if you can find it in you, to step up to the plate and know these guys are great guys. Otherwise, I wouldn't have brought them on the podcast. You know, I've had Eric Ristau on in the past, and he's done some other films, you know, and these guys are motorcycle enthusiasts. You know, they really are. They're not just out there, you know, trying to make a buck. This is a passion project for them. And they reached out to us, and of course we brought them on the platform. Happy to do that. So there you go, guys. I just hope that you guys are all well out there. I definitely hope you're getting some riding in. All right, guys. Don't forget, Lab Podcast phone number 509-731-3548. That's right. Or you can leave a voicemail right from the microphone built into your computer for free anywhere in the world. lawabidingbiker.com/voicemail or /contact. It all gets you to the same place, gets you the links you need, guys. And if you can't support us financially, we get it. Everybody's in a different situation. At least get over there to iTunes. Even if you listen on our app, at least get on the iTunes app and give us a 5-star rating. lawabidingbiker.com/iTunes. We really appreciate that. Or /Stitcher Radio, or wherever you're listening. If you're over on Google Play Music, we're over there too. We're on all the podcast apps, guys. Just give us a rating. It helps bump us up in the rankings so that more bikers around the world can find us and join this thing we call the biker revolution. I'm out of here, guys. I'm going to go for a ride, actually. It's a beautiful day.